Sesan, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yeah, good morning. They can increase the volume a bit.
All right, I guess the producer heard Sesan, if you could increase the volume a bit. But this is what we've been talking about, right? Sarah, you want to hit Sesan with this thing about the NLC and how they're in bed with the federal government now.
Well, we were taking a look at this story just before you joined us, how federal government begins payment as salaries rise to 4 trillion naira in terms of the 70,000 naira minimum wage. And the NLC and TUC have lauded the federal government over this move. We recall that the NLC came out to, criticize and attack the government about the minimum wage, saying that it is no longer commensurate with the cost of living, especially with the increase in fuel price. And seeing this now that they are lauding the federal government, and this is even targeted at federal workers. What happens to the organized private sector? Are we saying that the NLC, or does this imply in some sort of way that the NLC is not really concerned with the organized private sector, and seeing that to think that the minimum wage was not the only thing they were clamoring for then. They were reportedly clamoring for reversal of the tariff hike, electricity tariff hike, fuel price, but those things seem to be swept over the carpet. Let's get your perspective very quickly on that.
Okay, sorry, I trained my ears to hear you, but I can hear more of labor issue of the issue of minimum wage. Let me just react. I saw a memo from circulating from the Office of the National Salary and Wages. I could not validate it. I saw that on the civil servant platform, which I give some guidance to. And I took my time to study that, and one thing that caught my attention seems to be 40,000 added across the baseline in respective of your level. Just to say somebody earning 30,000 and somebody earning 100,000 for now, both parties will just add additional 40,000 each. Quite amazing to see that kind of a thing. One, two, I feel with the current reality that we have on ground, I'm sure the labor themselves will be caught abase. I don't think it is no longer minimum wage, because at the time when that negotiation was going on, I think petrol was going for as low as 568, and as we speak, it has moved to about
55, yeah.
1,200. So I feel what some of us said before now, of saying it is not the issue of increasing salary that is the major problem that we have with government to fix, but is to make sure that the basic amenities, that even with the 30,000 minimum wage we have, we can still have a lot of things to do. And what are the basic things required? How can we engage the government in such a way that we have the crude oil, we can process and refine our products locally, not only with the private sector, but even with the refineries that we have. If they cannot manage it, we have said that it will be good you hand over to the private sector under the PPP arrangement in such a way that you can have more supply. You see, it does the law of economics. When this supply outweighs the demand, the prices will definitely be forced down. You can see that played out in the telecom industry. I'm sure you all know what the cost was like when we started having our phone, but you know what it is now. People share phone, people share even SIM cards, All you need to do is just to activate and continue to use with a token. So I feel we have said it to Nigeria Labour Congress that the part of requesting for increase in salary is not the way to go. It will actually reduce our purchasing power as a nation. But we can go ahead and engage the government to keep the basic amenities. Let's have access to good health facility at minimal cost like we used to have before now. Let's start education at disposed, not people running to private schools, but the public schools like we used to have. At least the common man can have access to education, which will definitely give them. Let the business survive. Let there be intentionality on the part of the government to make the business environment more conducive for growth.
All right,
Because
Sesan.
as we speak, the operating cost of an average organization is really making them to go the other route, creating unemployment. So these are areas to address and not just clamoring for increase in wages.
Right. Sesan, let me interrupt you for a bit because of our time. Let me interrupt you for a bit. Now, let's quickly talk about Dangote and the NNPCL very, very quickly before Vivian, hops on it. It's almost 2 weeks. Sunday will be 2 weeks since the NNPCL lifted over 6 million liters of petrol from the Dangote refinery. And as of today, we've not gotten a concrete update into what is going on, the pricing that has been agreed upon, and all of that. And now there are talks that independent marketers might begin to also lift petrol from the refinery. I'd like to get your perspective on this stalling, the whole stalling process. No clarity in terms of pricing. Before we know it, a month, 2 months, and we're still on the same path. How can this be managed, and what should we look out for?
Okay, well, I just tried to struggle. I heard about Dangote, the independent marketers, and the like. So what I think is really happening, I read about the House of Reps, prevailing on federal government to allow the independent marketers to have access to, getting products from Dangote. And you see, I still find it interesting, which I believe maybe is Nigeria that I can say that happening, that somebody will have a production outfit and you allow your buyer to determine what the price will look like.
Yeah.
And what if they underprice you? How do you go about that? If indeed we want to be transparent with what we have in this sector, I think Dangote should come out with what it looks like in actually producing a liter of fuel. And because it's not only selling to Nigeria, I believe it's selling to other African countries and even those that are outside the country based on the quality of its delivery, which everybody has given a nod to that it's good. So I feel we should first come out with that transparent and to say this is the actual cost of production. This is what and the federal government should remove this idea of monopolizing and saying single seller, single buyer. Open the market, let everybody have access. Some might even want to buy the product and just struggle to break even, considering that they have other things, so that there can be fair competition for everybody to even have access to those products. So I think it's the route to go. This idea of single buyer, single seller, or to the major marketers, we should take it off and open the market while we still concentrate on looking at how we can have other refineries, being handed over to the private sector to manage in PPP so that we can have more and produce more. Even if what we are selling out is what we'll be refining locally to meet and go beyond our daily domestic demand and send to other nations, I think it will be much more than this than just always saying that we will sell out our crude oil, generate revenue, that we are not seeing the impact of that revenue on our average.
Sesan, let me come in here. What you just described is full deregulation, which is what analysts like you have been calling for. But before we let you go, though, let me quickly have your take on this story on the front page of the Vanguard. This is what it said. Alleged missing $49.8 billion. Why Sanusi had to go as CBN governor. There's been a back and forth between Emir Sanusi, that was the former CBN gov, and former President Goodluck Jonathan. And Sanusi is pointing fingers at former President Jonathan, who feels it's necessary for him to reply. What's your take? 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, this issue of allegation of this missing 49.8 billion. I think, you see, a lot of things goes behind the scene. We keep saying it that if we can have a functional system that shows the transparency of operation across board in every arm, so this kind of needs will not be what we'll be discussing. You see, we'll have a counter reaction to you. We've seen a lot of allegations like this that never see the light of the day. They will raise this the information to the public domain, we'll discuss it, but the landing of it, you and I will not know. So for me, I think it's a wake-up call for this administration to see the more. Because even when this administration, you always see people coming out to also accuse of misappropriation of misdirecting funds that is not supposed to be. So it's a wake-up call for us to have a system that works and transparent, that meets this kind of thing at the board without just an individual single-handedly, indicting people. Fine, he was a CBN governor at that point in time, but a lot of things needed to be, shown. The report is supposed to even be made known to the public via their platform for everybody to have access to. So I think it's about system failure. That's why you see this front and back issue on the issue of allegation. Everything is alleged until it is proven, correct by the competent jurisdiction. And a lot that we have seen before now have not seen the light of the day. I will always still refer to it. Where are we on the issue of the allegation against the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, who is on suspension?
Right.
You will always see the beginning of it, the end thereof. You will not have understanding. And that's why we feel that we need to build strong institutions, strong systems that check the activity of individuals, and with that, you can send signals to us or to people that are actually in position of authority to do the right thing.
Very, very true. Right. Thank you so much. That's a fantastic place to wrap up the conversation with you this morning. It's been a delight. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Sarah and Vega. Wishing you a very splendid weekend.
And you too.
Thank
Take care
you.
of yourself. Bye-bye.